For it must be a Tuesday, but baby, that's what we do here. It's always a Tuesday. Patrick Harris, Joe Fisher with you. Schultze on the ones and twos.
Let's go!
Oh, Nelly. Whoa,
Indeed.
Nelly.
How we doing? We doing all right?
I'm good. I got Colombia, Brazil over there, 1-1.
Yeah, you got some winners on the TV, possibly. Some nations that are good at soccer.
Yeah, it's a lot better than these yahoos that I'm from.
God, what was I just saying last week that I was like, I don't know who they're playing, but I hope they lose because it is just like clockwork. U.S. men's team, we get hyped up, we get all excited for our team, and I don't care about the referees. They choked it. It happened again.
You know, it's really funny.
And I just have to see a bunch of bitching and moaning for the next for the last 24 hours about them just not being good.
You know what's funny is the referee yesterday was quite atrocious for both teams. As a football fan, that was embarrassing to watch.
Yes, and of course they got together in a room before the game and they said, "Screw USA,
Screw
let's
USA.
throw the game for our friends at Uruguay." And yeah, we don't want them to have anything nice.
But what's really funny about it, though, is if America doesn't have the giant debacle against Panama and beats Panama like they should beat Panama.
You're saying Panama weird. Panama.
Panama.
Woohoo!
If they take care of business against Panama and then lose to Uruguay.
Panama. You keep saying Panama.
Oh, so that's David Lee Roth.
Panama.
Panama.
Sure, let's do that.
If America takes
Sounds
care
exotic.
of business against Panama and goes into this and we're going to advance, but the winner of this game wins the group and you lose 1-0 to Uruguay in that kind of fashion, I kind of look at it and go, hey, I thought we played pretty good. I thought we played pretty well against Uruguay. I think we did. All things considered, the ref was rough. They're really good. I thought we played really well. But slapping dudes on the back of the head in the game before ain't going to help you. And America goes adios. And I can't tell you, Joe, you know me as a football fan. I am born in this country. Therefore, I root for this country. And as we sit here as pundits, as media, as people that talk about things that other highly talented people do, the lowest point of my day yesterday watching that America game is that I agree with Alexi Lawless. And let me tell you how much that hurts my soul.
Oh yeah, you're not a fan. Yeah, and
Nobody is. Nobody. It's not even like a me thing. I don't have a hot take here. Nobody.
No one, not one person is a fan of Alexi
Nobody is
Lawless.
interested in Alexi Lawless and what he has to say.
Is it
And he
because
was spot
is it because he's a ginge?
No.
Is there some sort of skin hair follicle bias being biased against him because of that? Huh?
I know.
He doesn't have a soul.
I think a lot of it is because he is the Stephen A. Smith of football.
Well, that's a stretch. I mean, that's a little. I would say,
But he says crazy things.
I'd say
that
that's
aren't-
Taylor Twellman, if anybody.
He says crazy things that aren't legit.
On a lighter note, what is the most fun country in South America and Central America to say? Is Uruguay up there?
Uruguay.
I mean, that's got to be a top 3.
Well, Costa Rica's nickname is Los Ticos.
Los Ticos.
I'm kind of into that. Los Ticos.
I mean, I'm looking at all of them.
You do have, it's not Chile, it's
Chile.
Chile. You know, like that's pretty fun.
Guyana
Guyana.
or French Guyana?
French Guyana. They have like population of North Portland.
Or do we go? Wait, Guyana or French Guyana?
Both.
Both? I don't believe that.
Let's
Isn't
see.
Guyana where they had Jonestown? The country of Guyana? I think that's where Jonestown was. That had the Colt moved to.
Oh, I thought Jonestown was like Virginia when we founded America.
No, I'm thinking of what was that guy's name? The cult leader, Text line could probably help me out.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to get the
Jim
text,
Jones, right?
I'm trying to get the text line up, but I'm having problems.
Yeah, Jim Jones. That's right.
Yeah, Jim Jones. I'm pretty sure that it was Guyana was the country that he moved all his followers to, and then had them drink the Kool-Aid.
That's amazing.
Do you not know this? Do you not know?
No, I think I do, but I'm so worried about. I don't know. I'm just thinking about this wrong. I don't know. Please help me.
Are you?
I'm
okay
having a
over there?
stroke.
I was gonna say.
I'm having a stroke over
do
here.
you smell
right?
burnt toast or something?
Oh,
like
hey,
that?
there it is. Sorry, I've been trying to figure out this damn text
The
line.
Vancouver Ford text line.
And I figured it out.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, my computer is taking an absolute dump right now. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Guyana. Or no, maybe the Vancouver text line is saying Ghana. I don't know.
We ain't taking that.
I don't know.
Ghana is a country in Africa.
I know. I don't think it was in Africa. I think that was a little too far. I don't know if they had the
No,
the
Jim
mileage.
Jones was to South America.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Exactly.
If
No,
I'm
you
gonna
are
take
so
my-
right about that.
If I'm
Yeah.
going to take my Colt somewhere, I'm staying in a hemisphere. Okay, only the Nazis realized they had to leave a hemisphere to get out of their stuff, so they left Germany to go to Argentina.
Thank you. Yes, the 1978 Jonestown massacre was in Guyana, Guyana, in South America.
Funny thing
Is that the biggest thing that they're known for?
probably?
They have to
Unfortunately,
be.
like I don't know anything else about the country of Guyana besides that.
Funny note about Nazis in Argentina. I was in Paris and last summer, and we walked up to the sandwich shop, and the guy who was running it was probably in his 70s, and he was of Italian descent. Like, we started talking to him, and he's Italian descent, but he grew up. He was born and raised in Argentina, and he's talking to us. He's like, "Yeah, Paris is very different than when I was a kid, but I'm from Argentina, but my parents are from Italy." And then he started talking, and we were kind of sitting there listening, and we were piecing it together, and we were like, "Oh my God, your parents are Nazis."
What? No,
fled-
dude. No, they're
that-
Italian.
Your parents voted for Mussolini, and they moved to Argentina, and now you decided to sell sandwiches in France. They were damn good sandwiches.
They're like,
And his grandson was like outside with his daughter, and so it was like this cute family moment. But then me and the wife were like looking at each other like, "These guys are Nazis."
they're like, what kind of sandwiches? Reuben's with sauerkraut on them.
I think these guys are Nazis.
Oh wait. Oh no. Oh God. You might be right.
Oh God. Oh God.
See, the text line is now they're saying it's Jamestown. It is in Guyana, but I always thought it was Jonestown.
Getting higgy with it.
Yeah, that's got. I mean, I'm sure they have some, very beautiful, I don't know, waterfalls or something like that, or forests, or. And yes, it was Jonestown. It wasn't Jamestown. See, I'm 2 for 2. All right.
I mean, South America is a weird spot. All right. Let's
You're
not
not wrong.
forget the largest country in South America does not speak Spanish.
Oh,
They speak Portuguese.
Brazil and
Yes.
Portuguese.
Like that's a wild concept. Right?
I mean,
I've been to Brazil. Nice place.
Have you
Is it?
seen the size of Portugal?
isn't. Well, I was gonna say
It is
the
a sliver on the coast of Spain.
Yeah, how did that happen? How did Portugal end up with so little land but such a dominant, like language,
Lingual kind of
yeah,
situation.
expansion?
Because Portugal probably got on some boats and sailed to the land of Brazil and wiped out a bunch of natives and said, "You speak Portuguese now."
yeah, and then that just sort of spread throughout the land
And created
then,
the beautiful.
And then when
game.
they got back home, they're like, "You guys are done. You're getting just this little piece of land. No more for you."
Yeah, the Spaniards were like, "What the hell's wrong with you? Why are you going south, dude?"
yeah. Hot South American talk here.
Well, I had it on my bingo card, so that's a plus.
Well, now I'm intrigued to learn more about Guyana. I mean, not really, but, at
Well-
least for the next couple of minutes before we take a commercial break and then get to baseball.
Well, give me the cliff notes. Oakley Dokley. Well, speaking of baseball, this is a baseball show. We do got some live for you. This is one of my favorite shows of the year, my friends. Schultze, I don't know if you know this, but today we officially, you may have done it before because you can do it up to 5,000 times paging Toronto fans. Today, we will all vote for the All-Star game.
Well, that's going to be
Heck
easy
yeah.
for me. Oriole.
I think you missed this
Oriole,
show last year. I
Oriole.
think we were all gone.
Oriole.
I think we were gone last year. So I did vote last year. I did it on my own accord. But this year, we will spend the year voting on all-star games. Plus, we got to kind of touch on are the Phillies in big trouble? Does Tim Anderson get signed by the Mariners? Because that'd be the most Mariner thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
And trade deadline is massively approaching. So we'll see what we get to. But let's dive into the all-star game. Plus, new home run derby format. Stop me if you've heard this before.
Yes, that is
Again?
correct.
So we got a lot to get to. We'll get to that. That's Joe Fisher. I'm Patrick Harris. Schultze's on the 1 and 2s. Hot Corner, 1080 The Fan.
The Fan is live on YouTube.
Nine, 7:19 here, Portland Sports Leader. Don't you forget it.
Yeah, we might need an ambulance soon.
We are live from the shadows of the historic Fremont Bridge.
He's falling apart.
Jesus, what is happening to me right now?
Hello? McFly?
Hello?
Anybody home? Sorry. It's a perfect opportunity for that.
We spend this day looking ahead to the All-Star Game, which will be in 2 weeks.
Brought to you by.
The All-Star Vote.
Oh, okay, not the game.
Not the game.
I kind of wish the game was brought to you by this company
The
now.
All-Star Ballot Finals brought to you by BuildSubmarines.com. I feel like this company had to look at the Titanic debacle of last summer,
What is their budget?
and they've decided, like, hey, you want to go deep down and have your thing blow up? Yeah, that'll cost you, $275,000.
Boy,
We will take your money and you will sign a contract absolving us of all problems.
I have seen some other ads and stuff for GoCoastGuard.com. Our nautical brothers need help right now. We need more Coast Guard members. We need more people building submarines.
Which is
What the
funny.
hell is going on?
Which is funny. They want you to support the Coast Guard while everybody tells you that the Coast Guard is just a bunch of pansies.
Oh, dude, what was that one movie with Ashton Kutcher? Annapolis or something
Pearl
like that?
Harbor?
No. No.
Oh,
I
sorry.
don't think Ashton
Kutcher and Ben Affleck. Sorry.
Was it
No,
Annapolis?
Damon and Ben Affleck.
I need a name.
No, it was James Franco.
The brain
excuse
is
me.
dead.
It's all good.
James Franco, he's still cool, right?
No, no.
No,
You can't hang out with him. Apparently,
No, I believe he is too woke for us.
Man, I gotta remember this damn movie. Ashton Kutcher. This is how I know my laptop is listening to me, because as soon as I type in Ashton Kutcher, the first thing that comes up is Coast Guard movie. So thanks, laptop, for
Not
creating
Butterfly Effect?
The
Not
Guardian.
that 70s show?
The Guardian is what it's called, and it also has Kevin Costner. But there's a little clip, like a little montage in there where they show Coast Guard training. No, thank you. I would not want to go through the training that the Coast Guard guys have to go through.
It sounds like a bunch of pansies.
Yeah. Imagine like basically being purposely drowned.
The Home Run Derby has a new format. Why does this feel to me a little bit like pass interference rules in the NFL? Like every year this thing changes. I'm like reading this and I'll share it with you in a moment. But I'm reading this and I'm like, how is this different than what was last year? How did we do it last year? Do we do it this way? Do we do it a different way?
Are you
Why-
asking that, or
I'm
is that
asking that.
rhetorical?
It's both. It's both, honestly.
it was
like-
a timed round, right? I don't think they had a limit of balls like we're about to hear about. I think it was a timed 3-minute round with a 30-second bonus into, I believe, another shorter timed second round. Don't quote me on that, though.
Why do we feel the need in the All-Star break of Major League Baseball, which is clearly the best All-Star break? Why do we feel the need to constantly tinker with it? Is this a baseball, nobody hates baseball more than baseball thing?
I mean, yes. But then again, all-star games are just kind of doing this now. Like the funny thing is to me, the home run derby, out of all the sports, everything, is one of the sports or all-star activities that to me is like, you don't really have to do anything. People are going to watch that thing.
Without a
Like,
doubt.
Slam dunk contest is going through it.
It's been really rough. I don't watch that anymore.
I think it's a little bit overblown that people saying it sucks. 3-point contest is the better watch. It's like, no, it's
well,
not.
there's
Stop.
a bunch of dudes that could barely make a starting roster but can bam out.
That's the only problem, is that you just don't have stars. So if you get stars that are doing it, then people are going to watch it a lot more. That's their problem. But you can have Mac McClung in there and I'll still watch. I mean, Pro Bowl, dear God. I mean, we've been talking
Dear
about that.
God.
We've been talking about that for a while now. That thing hasn't been relevant since Sean Taylor took that punter's head off. So I mean, like, the home run derby is like the one all-star activity where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna tune in for that. Like, I would bet that the home run derby probably gets better ratings than the all-star game itself in the MLB.
Great shot. Great chance.
So, I mean, changing the format, I mean, I don't know if it really matters so much or that you need to, but again, MLB, for some reason, feels like they have to.
These are the new rules. In the first round, all 8 players get 3 minutes or 40 pitches, whichever comes first, plus that timeout.
3 minutes or 40 pitches.
So
Whatever
they're-
comes first.
So they're putting a limit on it. Doesn't it, like it is a more, I guess, more of a limit, I should say, than before.
I
The-
feel like 40 pitches would come first.
Yeah, I agree.
Versus 3 minutes.
Has to.
Yeah.
It's
Has to.
one
Because
was
those guys swing at everything.
2-1.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
those guys are grooving them in there.
yeah, they're quick to swing too.
The 4 leading home run hitters advance, which means we're not a bracket anymore.
I like that. I really hated the
I
bracket
like
system.
that as well.
Ty-
I appreciate that.
Ties are broken using the longest home run distance.
Dumb.
Yeah, you should make them.
Dumb.
There should be like a 10 ball or like a 30-second or
What
60-second
if I hit
slam
17
off.
and you hit 17, but I hit a 475? That's not a good tiebreaker. What else? Would
I mean,
be
that's cool,
If
but
it's-
what would be a better tiebreaker?
A
I think
slam off.
Yeah, I think like 1 minute, 1.5 minute, whoever hits the most home runs, like have it like oh, sorry, you hit only a 465 footer compared to my 470. You are not advanced. Like, come
Yeah,
on.
I don't like that either.
After the initial 3 minutes or 40 pitches is up, each player gets 3 bonus outs where they continue hitting until 3 outs are recorded, which means if you're Adley Rutschman from the right side, that is very beneficial to you.
So everybody gets the additional.
Everybody
three
gets
out
the
thing.
additional 3 outs, and you hit until those 3 outs are recorded.
Okay.
So it's first minutes or pitches, and then it goes to outs. Okay.
Mhm.
So kind of like the old format where it was like you have to be selective about the ones you're trying to hit because you only have 3 outs.
Hitters can earn a 4th bonus out
Ooh.
with a 425-foot homer in bonus time.
I like that.
Like in that bonus round, if you have a home run over 425,
You
then
get
you
a
get that
4th
fourth out.
out.
But that's it. Like no 5th out or anything
No.
like that, or
No.
like if you hit multiple 425 home runs.
In the semis,
Otherwise, it would probably keep going for way longer than needed.
the 4 remaining players are seeded 1 through 4 using first round home run totals. Then it's 1 against 4, 2 against 3, and head-to-head matchups. 3 minutes, 40 pitches, 1 timeout. Same bonus rules apply. So the semifinals is the exact same thing.
Okay,
Okay, you follow?
gotcha.
In the finals, the final 2 players now have 2 minutes or 27 pitches, whichever comes first, with 1 timeout, but the same bonus time rules apply. Most home runs wins.
You know, now that you said it for this second round, the whole whatever comes first, I don't know if I like it. Like, just stick to 1.
I think what drives me absolutely bonkers about this, it's like we're redoing the home run derby every single year. Now, this might be a great way to do it, but why do I have to relearn the home run derby every single year?
Now I have to ask, is it 27 total pitches or is it 27 total hacks? I mean, pitches sounds like it's a pitch, so it's like you better be swinging, right?
Yeah.
Like, because
Yeah,
what
you
if
have to.
what if the guy who's throwing to you just sucks? Like,
Yeah.
who was last year? I'm trying
Like
to
if
remember.
my dad threw to me, it would suck because he's dead. But if he threw to me, those would be bad pitches.
God, I'm trying to remember last year in the Derby, there
especially
was
from a dead guy.
someone's coach, dad, whoever was just throwing terrible pitches. But yeah, it's like if he sucks and gives me like isn't giving me hittable, it's like, oh well, that's 1 of your 27, 1 of your 40. Like you better swing at it. Like I like just having the timed amount. Like just give me a timed clock, because also I think that's more fun when you're getting to those final seconds and it's like, oh, he needs 2 more. He's only got 15 seconds left.
I think what they're trying to do is I think they're trying to find a way to reward the Adley Rutschmans and the Julio Rodriguez's of the world that hit so many bombs, but because of stupid rule stuff, they don't advance. Like when Adley switched sides, that's a top 5 home run derby moment
It's pretty cool.
of all time. Griffey with the backwards hat, Hamilton in Yankee Stadium, McGuire over Fenway, Julio, honestly. Gary Sanchez had that great round that one year. Like, I think they're trying to tool the rules to benefit those guys who didn't advance. Let's not forget, Josh Hamilton in Yankee Stadium didn't win. Bobby Abreu won. You know, Julio Rodriguez, Adley Rutschman put on a bleeping show, and neither of them advanced. So I think they're trying to tool the rules to help those guys. I just pick something and stick with it. That's all I want.
Yeah,
I can't learn pass interference rules every year.
So I'm looking at like the Wikipedia for the home run derby in the format section. No changes really from 85 to 90. 91 to 2005 they used the same format. 2006 to 2013. Instead of the tally resetting for each round, it was only reset before the final round. Therefore, the players with the 4 highest totals after round 1 bounce to round 2. So, I mean, no changes for essentially 14 years, and then no changes for 7. And then on here it says 2014 there was a change, 2015 there was a change, 2020 or 2019 there was a change, 2021 there was a change, 2023, 2024. I mean, it seems like it is now a every year thing for the most part, every other year thing where it is being changed.
And I don't like that. It reminds me of the NFL. I can't keep up with you.
Yeah, I'm looking at all of it. First tiebreaker in 2017, 2018. Yeah, it's too much. It's too much.
Let's get out on this.
Gold balls being implemented at some point.
Oh, like the stripe ball and the 3-point, the money ball.
Kind of.
Yeah, they had the Century 21 gold ball.
That's right. They did that from 2005 to 2013.
In terms of who we know are playing,
But that was raised for charities. Sorry.
We can come back to this next week. The only player committed to the home run derby in 2024,
Your future AL MVP.
shortstop for the Baltimore Orioles, Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah, I mean the guy hits dongs. What do you expect?
He is the only one. We're waiting on Shohei. Apparently, everyone's telling Shohei not to do it, but the fact that he hasn't said no means he really wants to do it. And baseball is like, for the love of God,
Please.
like, we are violating Players Association rules for you.
Well, also, Dave Roberts, being the smartest manager in baseball that he is, telling Shohei don't do it. You want to be careful with that elbow and not re-aggravate it all.
I mean, if everyone in baseball is Aaron Boone, then yeah, Dave Roberts is number one. We do know there are a couple guys that are not going to, that have said no. One of them being Yordan Alvarez, which is too bad because he could be really fun. That guy hits baseballs like he's mad at you.
Yeah, he is. He's a beast.
And the other is Aaron Judge. And the reason Judge isn't going to do it this year is because he's going to do it next year at Yankee Stadium.
Oh, I didn't even realize it was. Where is this the game at this year?
Texas.
Texas, that's right. Okay, thank
I
you.
really hope Julio doesn't do it. I think it'd be laughable if he did it because he's hit so few homers this year. He hasn't even hit like a double in the last 20,
Julio
30
Rodriguez
games.
in 7 pitches could hit more home runs in the home run derby than he has this year.
You're not wrong, but I think it's a farce, and I don't think they should do it. It is a bad look to go hit a bunch of home runs while you are struggling at the plate.
So I would say, as a Mariners fan, you would want him to do it because as soon as after he did the home run derby last year, he caught fire and started hitting a lot better. So maybe you need him to participate
You know what?
in it.
Maybe you're right. But that was in Seattle, but you are right.
Also, Julio can't be worse than he is right now. So who gives an F?
Don't say that, please.
All right, let's get out of here. When we come back, let's look at the All-Star vote. Let's dive into this. I love this so much because I get to vote for the All-Star game, which I think is fantastic. But I do have a little bit of a concern about how we vote right now.
Uh-oh.
So we'll touch on that next. But first, there's Schultze with sports.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, a very busy day 2 of NBA free agency. The Golden State Warriors making a coaching move as well as a player move. First, they brought in lead assistant Terry Stotts under Steve Kerr, of course, former Blazer coach. They are also hiring Jerry Stackhouse and adding him to their roster of assistant coaches. On the player side, Golden State signing forward Kyle Anderson for 3 years, $27 million. That was a sign-and-trade deal with the Timberwolves. Minnesota getting cash and a future second-rounder. The Orlando Magic bringing back Mo Wagner on a 2-year, $22 million deal. Also extending forward Jonathan Isaac on a 5-year, $84 million contract, renegotiation and extension. And the Cleveland Cavaliers signing All-Star Donovan Mitchell for a 3-year, $150.3 million max extension with an option for a 4th season. In baseball, the Seattle Mariners hosting the AL East best Baltimore Orioles right now. Not going so well. It's the top of the 4th, a couple runners on for the Orioles. They do lead right now 1-0 thanks to an RBI single actually just a moment ago from Anthony Santander. His second hit of the evening for Baltimore. Once again, 1 out and 2 runners on. Orioles lead the Mariners 1-0 in the top of the 4th. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schultze at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app. the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Got a smart speaker? It's the Fan in your office and every room of your home. Tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Hey, it's Suk. And guys, for those of you with a full head of hair, congratulations. Studies show that
You know, I used to work for a guy. I won't name his name because that would be inappropriate. Who once told me that he lost his virginity to this song at a party.
Was he
Like him and a chick met up.
was
and
this
they,
the 80s by chance?
Yes.
I mean,
Of
yeah,
course.
and
Had to have
they
been.
went in the back room and got their boogie on, and that's where he lost the V card.
Woo!
While Panama was being played in the background. by Van Halen. So on his birthday, we would always play it very loudly.
There are many. He is among millions that have lost that V card to.
It's crazy
I
that
bet you millions have lost their V cards to David Lee Roth while that song was playing.
I mean, the crazy part of that story is
Probably.
that they didn't even get to the first verse.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey.
This V card. What do you want?
As we get here to the All-Star Ballot Finals 2024 presented by BuildSubmarines.com. Joe, as I look through this,
Still kills me.
I feel like we should probably rethink how we do this.
Like win?
Yeah. Because right now we can only vote for like two guys.
Oh. Well,
Ooh.
okay. Oriole. Let's just make it easy.
You know, when you get to first base, that's what she said. When you get to first base, like, I want to look around and I want to see the guys. I want to, like, see everything. But right now I'm being told you can only choose between one of these two guys.
Oh, yeah.
And in the National League, I don't even get to choose. It's already been chosen for me.
Top vote getter.
Now, I don't have a problem with it because that's probably who I would vote for based on stats. This isn't Toronto, all right? We don't live in a world where you can vote for your players whether they suck or not. I was going to be real mad if I saw Bo Bichette on this list.
Yeah, that would have not made sense.
But that's how they do it. And so I'm very glad that it kind of gets rid of some of that. But I would like to look at the rest of the first baseman before I choose between these two guys.
Yes, so we need to make sure we are a little bit quicker on this next year.
We
I
have
hear
to
you on
be
that.
before the finalists
Well,
because
and-
now they have finalists.
And you mentioned getting here sooner. Bo Bichette was on the list, I think, 3 weeks ago.
Of course he was.
So we could have voted for him.
Because I look at this and I can see of my first base choices, one of them is a Toronto Blue Jay. Now, he's been very hot the last week, and his stats do justify a little bit of being the top vote getter.
Excuse me. He looks really hot.
But I want to look at some other guys and see if I should choose them because obviously Joe's O's are stuffing the ballot here.
What are you talking about? Come on. Don't do that.
No?
I mean, probably, but come on. Don't do that. They're having a great year.
Do you think we should have finalists like this?
No.
Or do you think it should just be open at all times? Like, Bryce, you can't vote for a first baseman in the National League because it's Bryce.
No, they need to keep it open.
You should keep it open, right?
Yeah.
And let maybe somebody comes on strong later.
For the sake of our show and for us having better content, yeah, they should keep it open. Because I'm also looking at the stats right now and his season. I mean, like, you could make the argument that Josh Naylor should definitely be in this vote. Over who? Well, you know, I don't really want to admit, but I mean,
Tugging at my heartstrings here, dude.
I know.
Tugging at my heartstrings. I watched him hustle his fat booty around third today and score.
But let's be real. I mean, we kind of had a feeling about this guy in the American League on first base that he could pop off at any moment, and he's been doing that the last couple weeks.
I know, especially when it comes to trade deadline stuff. And next week, I would really want to get into some trade deadline stuff and really dive into it and take a big peek at it. But I feel like I am being. It's like I heard the last segment on Primetime. Buck was talking about the echo chamber, and we don't read articles because we just follow somebody that we trust and they tell us what to do. I feel like that's going on right now. I feel like this might be a little collusion. Look, I know he's really good. He's one of the best we've ever seen. But I don't know if he's the guy I would vote for.
Would you vote for Josh Naylor?
Maybe. I don't know because I don't have the other guy's stats in front of me
Yeah.
to be able to choose.
Well, Josh Naylor.
Like they have told me that one of these two guys is clearly the best that's ever been seen.
I mean, I'm gonna vote for Vladdy Jr. That's who I'm gonna put my vote in. I love you, Ryan Mountcastle. You're great, but
But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about who you're going to vote for. I'm talking about that I think this voting process is garbage right now.
well,
I don't get a say in the National League.
tough titty, said the kitty, but the
What
milk
I-
was cold. All right.
What if I think a 38-year Paul Goldschmidt is having a better season than a 33-year-old Bryce Harper?
I mean, I would
Which is not true, but you know what I mean.
That is not true. I would say the one aspect I like of this voting is that the top vote getters from each league are kind of just guaranteed past a certain point, which does allow voters who are just kind of hitting the button over and over for them to try to put that somewhere
Throw
else.
somebody else in.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right.
So there's like one aspect of this that I like, but sitting here looking at two options, for one position, and then two more options for a designated hitter, 6 options total for the outfield, and one of those is Aaron Judge in the American League. Yeah, you're definitely limited past, and I don't know when they limited this. Like what, the last week or couple of weeks till the end of June is when they start to tell you.
But Chelsea, I think you touch on something there. Like, what if they say, okay, Judge is in. Okay, you normally get to vote for 3 outfielders. Judge is in. So now you only get to vote for 2.
Mhm.
What if they let me vote for 3?
Like one of those doesn't end up being a starter, but they automatically get a bench spot. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Not
or no?
necessarily,
Okay.
but just if we know Judge is in,
Yeah.
so only potentially 2 of your 3 guys are gonna get picked. But let's let you keep your 3rd vote to maybe bump somebody else up.
I understand what you're saying, but it does get a little convoluted, and I feel like taking that player away does enough to keep those votes out there. But I see what you're saying.
I also think it should go back to the back in the day.
What's that?
Oh,
I think
punching it.
I think you should go back to the back to the I think you should have to go back to the day where you had to go to the stadium to
Yeah.
vote.
Punch the little ballots at the stadium and
At
then
the
drop them
stadium.
off. Yeah.
Hell,
What am I going to do? Drive all the way up to Seattle for that?
hell yeah, and we would do it. That would be a show.
That's unfair.
We would do a show on the road.
That's unfair to us non
Joe and I would
MLB
be at a
cities.
bar just absolutely hammed after some bad Mariners Royals game, talking about whether or not we want to choose Stephen Kwan or Anthony Santander.
So are we actually voting right now or not? Or are we just going to be upset this whole time?
We're just
And
gonna be upset this
we're
whole
going to
time.
boycott the voting process this time?
No,
because
we're
we're
gonna
late.
vote. No, we're gonna vote. We're gonna vote.
All right, so are we agreeing at least first base is Vladimir Guerrero Jr.?
Hell no, I ain't agreeing
No!
on nothing, dude.
Why do I have to join in on Canada's?
My body, my rights.
You're going Mountcastle?
No.
Yes.
I'll tell you who I'm voting for. We'll do that next. The Hot Corner, 10 in the Fan.
The Fan is live on YouTube.
All right, my friends, this is the time you've been waiting for. It's time to start voting. Coming up in the second hour, we got a little story time with Uncle Patrick at 8:15. On the fly, Joe inspired me, plus fair or foul at 8:30. At 8:15, we'll talk a little Mickey Mantle.
What?
Which I love doing because I love Mickey. One of my favorite players of all time.
Because you watch so many of his games.
Dude, me and Swag, dude.
Sorry, that's rude.
Swag and I were in right center at Yankee Stadium.
Oh my God. I'm seeing Corbin Carroll's stats right in front of me. I knew he was having a bad season, but 212 average, 2 home runs. I think the OPS said like 5 something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. I want to start here in the National League. We've been kind of leading into this. Bryce Harper is your starting first baseman in the All-Star game in Texas. So we can move past that. I would be interested to see who else at first base in the National League was worthy, but that's for another time. I find second base to be absolutely fascinating. Right now, your 2 finalists are Luis Arraez and Ketel Marte. I find this absolutely fascinating because Luis Arraez doesn't play second base anymore. So I think that's a big thing. But I think what's fun about this competition here, Joe, is you're talking about a guy who is just a pure hitter versus a guy that actually provides for his team. That's not a slam at Luis Arraez, but his job is to sit at the top of the order and hit. He doesn't hit for power. He's got 22 RBIs.
I see ball, I hit ball, I get on base.
Right. And there should be some love and respect for that. Personally, of this, I'm voting for Ketel Marte.
Likewise. I think that, if Arraez had a little bit more offensive output when it comes to home runs, RBIs, slugging, all of that, he is a hitting machine. He is a single machine. If you gave me a little bit more than that, then I would. He's going to go to the All-Star game anyways.
Right. He'll be a backup. But should he start is a big deal.
No,
They got contracts on this stuff.
No, I'm going to go Marte.
Yeah, I just think he's got 25 more more RBIs. His OPS is almost 150 more. His home runs are 15 more, and his batting average is only 30 points less.
Yeah, that's another thing is that it's not like he's drastically
He's batting 287,
yeah.
which Patrick Harris would say is pretty good.
Yeah.
Not great.
It's
but
not
pretty good.
a giant disparity as far as batting average. It's not like he's batting 250 or something, for God's sakes. To me, you're providing much more offense, much more rounded offense than Arraez is. And that's not taking anything from how great of a hitter Arraez is, but it's just, what are you giving me more than singles and getting on base, which is valuable, but to me, Marte just a little bit more valuable.
Yeah, I think if you're a singles hitter, you got to be up at the batting average near where Tony Gwynn averaged for his
340,
career.
where Arraez has been in the past.
In the past, but not this year. Like Steven
What
Kwan.
a bum.
He's at 360 something this year. That is an average where, you're putting up less total bases, but you're still on all the time. You can't ignore that.
Are you taking former Mariner Ketel Marte?
I am taking former Mariner Ketel Marte. I love the career he's had for Arizona. He's having another great year. He's just doing everything for him. So, yeah, absolutely.
Moving on to third base, your finalists are Alec Bohm and Manny Machado. I think this is pretty simple. 1, 2, 3. Alec Bohm.
Boom.
I think Bohm.
Oh, Alec Bohm. My bad. I was late on that.
Alec Bohm and Stott, these are the guys that are why Philly might win the World Series this year.
Making that jump.
Yeah, you've got Real Muto, you've got Harper, you've got Schwarber, you've got studs. But guys like Alec Bohm are why you're going to go to the World Series. And he's currently batting .298 right now. Only 10 home runs, so he's not going deep, but 68 RBIs and an over 800 OPS. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, he has been lights out this year. He's been a huge part of their success. Like you said, having those stalwarts in your lineup is great, but they've come up short, and I think that having Bohm and then being able to sorry, you just said his name.
Bryson Stott.
Thank you. Being able to push you over the top this year when it comes to World Series contender, it drastically changes for this thing.
Yeah.
for this team.
Jordan, you're good with this as well, right?
Oh yeah, no arguments there. Are you kidding me? That's probably one of the easiest positions in all of both the American and National League ballots.
I think one of the most interesting things is what's comes up next, and I want to kind of be quick because I want to make sure we have enough time for everything. Is shortstop and catcher. We've got in shortstop, we've got the guy that deserves it who's hurt, and in catcher, we've got the runner up who's hurt. How do you view these votes for the All-Star game when you see these finalists and the guy who deserves it is hurt? Do you vote for the other guy?
I don't know.
Or do you vote for just who deserves it?
I don't know if you would say that. Like Real Muto is the one who deserves it.
I know, but Mookie Betts is the one who deserves it.
Yeah, and he actually, this is a great argument.
That's what I'm asking.
Because I think if you start off having a great year like Mookie did, and then you get injured very recently, closer to the All-Star break, of course you got to put Mookie in.
And you got to remember contracts and bonuses
Yeah.
and stuff like that, brand recognition, things like that. Like Trey Turner is going to the All-Star game.
He'll be there as a
Will
backup.
be the starter. But can my moral conundrum vote for Mookie because I think he's better?
Well, I think with his stats, yes, he got injured, and then knowing that Trey Turner, which would have been the backup, will end up starting, you still get that appearance for Mookie Betts, who has put up the numbers worthy of it. On the other side of the coin, JT Realmuto, I think he got injured a little too early. I kind of start to think mid-May, if you're not playing past that, I don't think you're worthy of an all-star vote.
Well, I think the easy thing with catcher, too, is William Contreras is the easy answer here, even if Realmuto doesn't get hurt. Contreras deserves this start and will get this start. But I'm just curious, like Trey Turner was hurt in the beginning of the year, and his stats, when you look at it, are pretty comparable to Mookie. In different ways, different players, different things they do for their club. But am I wasting my vote, quote unquote, voting for Mookie Betts because he's not going to start?
No, and this is kind of where I stand with you and being like, you know what, I boycott this All-Star vote and this All-Star ballot
Because Mookie's out. I would like another option than Trey Turner.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you could make the case for Elly De La Cruz. You could make the case for honestly, C.J. Abrams over in Washington, my Washington Nationals, who I definitely didn't say was going to be the worst team in the MLB.
What about the rookie kid in Colorado? What about that guy?
I mean, they have to have a representative, so.
Oh, it'll be Diaz. They'll bring Diaz in.
Oh, God. Well, I hope they trade him just before that then.
I'm going to vote for Mookie Betts. I think he deserves the starting role, even though he's not going to get it.
I agree with you. I mean, I would vote for him too. I mean, I'm going to vote for him.
Yeah, you
have to because
He's been
I'm
good.
hitting the submit button at the end of this. So.
And William Contreras, if Realmuto goes down or not, Contreras is. I got friends in a fantasy league that I'm in that are starting to talk about is William Contreras a keeper in a dynasty league, and that is wild to talk about.
And you get one dynasty keeper. Like
no, you get three.
Three.
And then everyone you draft next year is your dynasty team.
Yeah.
But I mean, whoever has him in my league, if they do that, I think they're stupid. But the fact that we're having the conversation says something about how great his season has been.
Yeah, he's been fantastic for the Brewers. And you're getting power from that catcher position, which is always nice to have.
I would argue he's the reason they're in first place.
You can make an argument for it, for sure. But yeah, you wonder what Realmuto's stats would be if he'd been playing for the last 3 weeks to a month. But I'm still giving it to Contreras.
If you scroll down real quick, the designated hitter, 1, 2, 3, Shohei.
Okay.
Shohei? No, I'm kidding. Of course.
Fine.
I think the outfield is fascinating. I love that Nick Castellanos has as many votes as he has. That's Philly coming in strong, but there's no way I'm clicking your name. The finalists are Nick Castellanos, Teoscar Hernandez, Brandon Marsh, Jurickson Profar, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Christian Yelich in alphabetical order. I would argue to the two of you that the bottom three are my vote getters.
What the hell is Brandon Marsh even doing on this list?
He's a Philly.
That's still ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
Egregious.
again where I feel like there has to be a somewhat like come to Jesus moment with this all-star ballot and the whole like, oh, well, they're a finalist, so you get to vote for them. Like, no, and I understand also it's just like if we had the full pool of players, some of these guys would still probably get selected and make the all-star game as a starter when they didn't deserve it, right? Like if we just let all players still allowed, like obviously the players that we think should be on here didn't make it as a finalist. So is that an indictment on them? No. Is it an indictment on their fan base? It shouldn't be.
Mm-mm.
I mean, what like we need to figure out a different way to go about this because yeah, to have Brandon Marsh on there for God's sakes, like what are we doing?
I mean, honestly, I think Teoscar's in the same boat. Castellanos is in the same boat. I think Teoscar's had a nice resurgence of a season in LA, but it also helps when you bat fifth and the four guys in front of you are potential Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Like, that's really nice.
Speak of the devil, he's up to bat right now against the Diamondbacks, and he's probably going to get a 3-run home run
Yeah, probably.
as he grounds out to the pitcher for a double play.
I am voting Jurickson Profar, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Christian Yelich. Christian Yelich and William Contreras are the reason the Brewers are in first place. This is the best season Yelich has had.
I like how you throw Yelich in there now.
It's the best season he's had in 5 years. I thought Yelich was going to be a future superstar. He won an MVP. He was really good in Florida, even better his first year in Milwaukee, and then kind of tapered off, and here he is back.
Yeah, I agree with you. Those were the three, just like instinct right off the bat. When I saw the six that are available to me, those are the three I went with because Profar more than deserving because of how he's been at the plate.
Comeback player of the year.
Yelich showing why he was a former MVP at 902 OPS. Like that's insane for him. And then Tatis Jr. as far as what he can do at the dish and out in the outfield as well.
Out in the field. He's the best right fielder in the game.
Yep.
All right, that'll do it for the National League. We come back, we'll slide over to the American League. Loaded second hour, don't go anywhere. Hot Corner, Portland Sports Leader, 1080 The Fan.
Portland Perks.
right, welcome into the second hour of the Hot Corner. You're missing the first hour. You can download that, the Fan Podcast, at 10thefan.com, the Odyssey app, wherever you get your podcasts. There is the Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326. All texts to the Fan are via the Vancouver Ford text line. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit vancouverford.com. I got me one in the parking lot. We're doing all-star voting.
Oh, crap. I closed my tab.
And if you missed any of the first round, we're all chalk. We're all together, are we not?
I believe so. Until we get to the American League.
Until we get to the American League. This will be interesting. And let's just dive right into this. Your finalists for first base are Vladdy Guerrero Jr., short hair Vladdy Guerrero Jr.
Yeah, that's what he
Which
needed
I would
to do, to just start hitting dongs.
I would argue that when MVP Andrew McCutchen cut his hair, he was never good again. It's balance, dude. It's weight. It's how you feel your body. And when Kutch cut those dreads off, he was never the same.
Kind of like CC Sabathia, losing all that weight.
Losing all that weight, yeah. He was more dominant when he was big.
Yep. Yeah, no, he got chubby again, and he became dominant.
Borderline racist, Patrick.
No, I'm happy for CC because he had an alcohol problem, and he's...
No, I was talking about cutting the dreads. You're saying if they would just cut their dreads, they could be better baseball players.
Right. Yeah, this is school, and I need you to be... Yeah, that's it. I hate black people. Is
We're
that
all
what you're
canceled.
saying, Joe? That's what Joe is saying.
Clip it.
What's interesting about this is Vladdy has been on a tear. And when you compare the stats for these two finalists, it actually favors in Vladdy very well. Again, this is why I would really like to see the other first baseman. I'd like to see Josh Naylor. I know his average is trash, but I'd like to see his OPS, his home runs, his RBIs, etc. versus, because when I look at these two guys just based on stats, the answer is Vladdy. And Mountcastle's great, but Mountcastle is part of that, kind of what we were talking about with Bryson Stott and Alec Boehm. Mountcastle is a guy that gets the Orioles to the World Series. He is a guy that is extremely valuable to that team for what he does. Santander, which we'll get to in the outfield, is the same way. That's a guy that gets them where they want to go. But when I'm looking here at All-Star Ballot, I have to go with Vladdy.
Likewise, it's one of those. I think we kind of had this moment last year, and it might have even been with first base too, where it's a matter of like, yeah, it's like, do we leave him out and not vote for him, even though we know he is very, very good and can make an all-star every season?
Right.
And now, luckily for Vladdy Jr., is that he has just been in an absolute tear these last couple of weeks.
I think Paul Goldschmidt was that way for a long time. We were like, how am I not voting for Paul or Arenado at third? How am I not voting for Arenado?
And it's not so much the problem with Vladimir Guerrero is that he was still getting on base this year. He was still getting hit. So it was just the power was missing. So the power is coming through, and you know, it literally just took him a couple of weeks to skyrocket up the charts as far as home runs and RBIs go. But I feel like that definitely plays a factor into it. So I'm going Vladdy as well.
Sliding into second,
Ew, it hurts.
Sliding into second base, I find this fascinating. Jose Altuve and Marcus Semien are your finalists, and Jose Altuve has had a very good year this year. I think there was a lot of questions about him coming into this year. In one of my fantasy keeper leagues, I opted to not keep him because I did not like the trajectory of where his aging was going. He has had a really, really nice season for an older player on a Houston team that's trying to figure out an identity and is kind of coming into their own right now. However, no, I won't vote for you. It's just not going to happen.
You're not going to vote for Altuve?
No.
Well, I will for my Houston Astros.
Sorry, Joe. I got a new tattoo that if I vote for Jose Altuve might ruin my tattoo.
Your wife's going to be pissed
Yep.
if you show it to me.
Yep. I don't want the world to see this tattoo I got for my wife, so I'm going to go for a strikeout machine, Marcus Semien.
Well, I'm going for the little baseball elf.
This is where we
because
differ.
He
I have
leads-
morals. You don't. Got it.
I know. That's why I also picked the Astros to win the AL West to start the year. And here they come rolling through. He leads the American League in total bases, home runs, average for second baseman, BABIP, batted at
BABIP.
balls in
BABIP.
play. I mean, for as small as that dude is, the fact that he has as many home runs as a second baseman over some of these other players, I understand that second basemen aren't always the biggest guys out there, but still, Yeah.
Wait till Jackson Holiday shows up.
That was supposed to happen this year, right?
Just trying to derail Joe over there.
Right? You're flustering me. Yes, I'm going with Altuve.
Moving over to third base, this one's really easy. I think this is the answer, Joe. I know one of the finalists is one of your O's. It's Jose Ramirez and Jordan Westberg. It's funny that obviously superstardom takes over, and superstardom should, as this is an all-star game. I can sit here and tell you that Jose Ramirez is the American League MVP right now. The Cleveland Guardians have the best record in the American League. Their pitching staff is really good. They're actually scoring runs. And when that offense comes to it, it's all because of Jose Ramirez. He has 76 RBIs on July 2nd.
Whatever.
Jeez.
There are 3 months of this season to go and 3 that he just did. He is walking into potentially 150 RBI season on a team that quote unquote can't hit.
Well, if he's walking into a 150 RBI season, then Aaron Judge is walking into a 160 RBI season.
And that's fine. And I get that. And I totally understand. Judge hits bombs. He plays in New York. He's 6'30". Like, I know he's giant. He's massive. He's the captain of the Yankees.
6'30" converts to what, like 9 feet
8'6",
or something?
8'6", something like that. I don't know. Like, he's a big dude. He's a big dude. He's captain of the Yankees. He makes a ton of money. But Jose Ramirez, this guy is, out of every category in all of this, I would argue that he is the most slam dunk candidate of any position of the All-Star game.
Yeah.
I
Yep,
agree.
you can make the case. When you're looking at all the other ones, I know that Schultze said that Alec Boehm at third base in the National League was his, but
I mean, I think Alec Boehm's a no-brainer too.
yeah,
But
I mean,
nothing is more no-brainer than Jose Ramirez.
Listen, love me some Jordan Westberg, but yeah, I'm right there with you, bud.
Shortstop is fascinating because I think we're going to have this conversation for the next decade.
Yeah,
If
this
not
is a
more.
good head-to-head matchup at shortstop. You know who I'm going with.
I know
but,
who you're
I mean,
going
you
with.
can make the argument for either one, Gunnar Henderson or Bobby Witt Jr.
Gunnar Henderson, Bobby Witt Jr.
That's just going to be swapping them out next
Yeah.
couple of years, right?
They're
Yeah,
both
exactly,
they're both
yeah.
going to be there. They're
Yep.
both going to be there. But it is a big deal on who starts.
It's true.
And I would assume the vote getter, where Joe's voting, this is actually where I am voting as well. I think what's been really fun about Bobby Witt is Bobby Witt is a sports center machine. He is a web gem maniac. He does things on the field that you just don't see all the time. He's a human highlight reel. Gunnar is the better baseball player. Gunnar is the guy I want on my team. Me and another buddy of mine are actively trying to trade in our fantasy league, going into our dynasty league, for Gunnar Henderson. He offered him Aaron Judge for Gunnar Henderson straight up, and I offered him Yordan Alvarez for Gunnar Henderson straight up. That's what we feel about Gunnar Henderson.
That is awesome to hear. I'm glad that you have as much confidence in him as I do.
Joe, he's got an almost 1,000 OPS
Yeah, Judge for, my God, Gunner. That's a tough trade to turn
for
down.
the next 10 years.
Ooh, wow. I don't know.
I actually think I'm leading the vote because I have Yordan Alvarez, who's younger than Judge.
That's fair. And yeah, like you said, he hits home runs like he's angry about it.
Yeah, I think this is a really cool competition between these two because I think we're gonna see this for a while. This is Nomar, A-Rod, Jeter, Tejada kind of stuff. Like, these are the future superstars, and it's splitting hairs to get them in. Do you want the flashy kid and Bobby Witt? Or do you want the guy that might win a World Series this year in Gunnar Henderson?
Don't you say that. Don't you put that out there,
Well,
but please keep saying that.
I said might. I gave you an out, Joe.
Yeah.
I will vote for Gunnar Henderson.
Yes, I will go for Gunnar Henderson. And then that leads us to another Kansas City Royal and Baltimore Royal matchup at the catcher position.
It's wild. I mean, Adley is already a star in the game.
Back-to-back tough decisions, honestly.
Adley's
I mean,
already
not for me, but
already a star in this game. What he did last year in the home run derby is legendary. We talked about it in the first hour. But boy, Sal Perez is having himself a season that makes you go, is he a Hall of Famer? And for me, my answer is yes.
He gets better with age.
does.
That's the crazy thing with him.
And this young Royals team who's done very well this year, check the tape, guilty as charged, picked Kansas City to win that division. Now it looks stupid, but they've played well. I'm going to give it to Sal Perez here. I think Adley is the better player. I like his stats better. I think he is more deserving. I'm going to give it to the old man. I like it. It's sexy. It's baseball. It's folklore. It's what we get enamored with. I am enamored with Sal Perez right now. Adley, I'm going to see you for the next 15 years. But I've watched Sal for 10, and this might be the best Sal I've ever seen.
Listen, it's going to be damn near impossible for me to ever vote against Adley Rutschman.
And that should be the truth, Joe.
And it's just, there's too many personal factors with that dude that make me want to go anywhere else.
And I think you're justified in it, Joe.
Well, it helps that he has comparable stats, and so when it comes to just the personal taste and flavor, I mean, again, there is just too many factors leaning towards Adley Rutschman. It's like, that dude is an Oriole. He is from my hometown. He played in the home state in college. Like, there's going to be nothing that ever gets me to vote against that guy.
What I would tell you, Joe, is even if you took out all that personal stuff, I still think you're right. I still think that it is Adley Rutschman is the best catcher in baseball. Take that, Will Smith.
Take that, Dumper.
Take that, Cal Raleigh. I think Adley Rutschman is the best. And I think Adley Rutschman deserves to start this game. This is the card I'm pulling as the old man of I'm going to vote for Sal Perez.
Fine. Do you. Salvador Perez is having a great year. Kudos to him. You keep wondering, like, hey, when is the fall off going to happen? And it hasn't. It hasn't for the last couple of years now. We thought, like, I don't know if it was after the World Series. I felt like there was one season where he did dip down a bit, but then it's just skyrocketed right back up. And it's just like, God, this guy, it just doesn't stop hitting. What the hell?
This is where Joe questions our friendship.
No, I'll give it to you. Whatever. Can't agree on everything.
We'll finish up real quick. Designated hitter. I'm just going to go ahead and click Yordan Alvarez. Ryan O'Hearn is fine, but boy, he likes to strike out. I'm going to give it to the big boy.
God, dude, fine. I'll choose Alvarez also.
Come on.
And then when you get to the outfield, kind of like our first base situation in the National League, Judge is in. He's there, so that leaves us with 2 votes. Your top getters are Steven Kwan. God, I love seeing his name there. Anthony Santander, Juan Soto, and Kyle Tucker. I think we're all going to easily pencil in Juan Soto here.
It'd be stupid if we didn't.
I think Judge looks like Judge because he has Juan Soto. And I see all these things that compare Judge's 2024 stats to Judge's 2022 stats. And the reason they're better is because he has Juan Soto. It's protection. It's the Yankees are actually good. Remember, that Yankee team was not good when Judge hit 62. Judge is this good because he has Juan Soto.
It's nice when you have a dude that is constantly on base half the time.
Yep, that's how your RBIs go through the roof. So the next question is where do you sit with the rest of the guys? Kyle Tucker's hurt, but could be back for the All-Star game. Probably not. They'll probably shut him down until after taking that foul ball off his shin.
Well, I love Anthony Santander because he is
Had a
just
great season.
Been a great month for him. I'll say that, and he is a stalwart for that Orioles team. He's been with the team for the bad years, so he's going to get rewarded this year.
All
But-
these guys are going.
Yeah, exactly. But 362 average, dude. Like, this is kind of like one of those, like, if Luis Arias had a 362
He's in.
and he was going up against Ketel Marte, then you would give it to him. So yeah, I'm giving it to Stephen Kwan.
When you have 7 home runs and 24 RBIs and your OPS is 950, yeah, you get my vote.
On base machine.
He's the best leadoff hitter in the league.
I want to vote for Kyle Tucker. I think Kyle Tucker is a top 5 player in Major League Baseball. And the injury, like Jordan said earlier, being injured late sucks compared to being injured earlier. I'm taking Kwan.
I'm going with Kwan. Kwan, Soto, Judge.
Yeah, ditto. That's my outfield
Put
as well.
Kwan in left field. Ooh, that's sexy. Baby. Ooh, baby. Kwan leadoff, Soto 2, Judge 3.
God, if Kwan were the Yankees' leadoff hitter, they would win the World Series.
Don't worry,
Like,
he will be shortly.
3 in a
No,
row.
he
Jose
won't.
4. Ooh,
Oh
baby.
my God.
No, he
Gunner
won't.
5.
Stop.
Oh, God. All right, that is it. That is our all-star voting. We come back, little story time with Uncle Patrick. Hot Corner, today the Fan.
The Blazers are dealing.
10th, when Bill Mazeroski slammed the four-bagger to end the game and the series with victory for the Pirates. Sweet revenge. A Cinderella story of baseball, and the hometown fans went berserk with joy.
And forgotten stories from the major leagues.
And that's the story of Mike Matheny and the Bird Pool.
Gather round, folks. It's story time with Uncle Patrick on 1080 The Fan.
All right, we're going to be real quick here as we got Fair or Foul coming up here in about 10 minutes. Joe was telling me some funny stats that he heard. He mentioned one, or so just funny situations that he heard, and it reminded me of one of the craziest stories that I know and love about one of my all-time favorite players. So, Joe, why don't you share with the three people listening out there that aren't you, me, and Schultze, what that story is?
Yes, and I give a tip of the cap to P1 Deal for sending me this on Instagram.
Deal? Never heard of him.
Yeah, neither I. It just popped up in Instagram. I was like, who the hell is this guy? MLB facts that sound fake but are real, and one of them was Mickey Mantle blew out his ACL his rookie year and played his entire career without it.
And that's insane. You're talking about a man who was in the race in 61, chasing Ruth, him and Maris. He is a bona fide Hall of Famer. He played in New York, while the two other teams in New York had center fielders named Duke Snider, Hall of Famer, and Willie Mays, Hall of Famer, rest in peace. Mickey Mantle is one of my favorite players of all time. I think there was a reckless abandonment about Mickey that was really fun. Like, he always put his body on the line. He cared. He was just an old school baseball player. Now, alcoholism and his body and women were ultimately his downfall. But
what isn't?
But what isn't when you're the Mick and the center fielder for the New York Yankees? But Joe, you talk about that ACL. And what's really funny is Mickey Mantle is playing center field in New York State in Yankee Stadium, and in right field is an older, aging Joe DiMaggio.
Ooh, this
Joe
story.
DiMaggio, the Yankee Clipper, by his own accord, viewed as the greatest Yankee of all time. There's a great story that I could tell you another time. He wanted a contract raise, and they said, "Hey, man, Lou Gehrig doesn't make that much money." And Joe DiMaggio's response was, "Well, then Lou Gehrig is severely underpaid." Joe DiMaggio was a red ass. Joe DiMaggio was a selfish pea, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Did not love new kids and did not love Mickey Mantle. His fear. His overarching fear was that Mickey Mantle was the next great Yankee, and Joe DiMaggio would disappear into the folklore.
As like 99% of athletes do.
Exactly. But Joe was so self-absorbed that he didn't want that. So there's a fly ball coming to right center field. Could have been either of them. The rumor is that it's a Joe DiMaggio ball. It's a right fielder ball. But Mickey is hustling as a rookie. And there was a giant divot in right center field. And right as Mickey and Joe are running, Joe saw that divot and held up and said, "You got it," and watched Mickey plant his leg in that divot and blow out his knee. Because
that was the sound he made.
Because nobody will be better than Joe DiMaggio. And that's how Mickey Mantle lost his ACL.
Now, is that admitted from either party? Was Mickey like, Joe screwed me? Or Joe was like, yeah, I screwed him?
That's the story Mickey Mantle tells.
Yeah.
And Mickey Mantle is not a guy. Mickey Mantle was a team. He was a captain. You know, him and Whitey Ford, like, they led the Yankees, and they had Yogi. So, like, that was a team of guys that loved baseball and loved being a Yankee, but nobody loved Joe DiMaggio.
I remember, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie 61 done by HBO.
Yes.
Barry Pepper as
Barry
Roger
Pepper
Mantle,
as Roger
Thomas
Maris.
Jane
Yes,
as Mickey
and
Mantle.
Thomas Jane is awesome
he is
as
the
Mickey Mantle.
Best Mickey Mantle ever.
So good.
And in that movie, I think in the first 10 minutes, they addressed this story, and it was either a divot or like a sprinkler or something that
Yes,
Joe DiMaggio
something
saw
like that.
and let Mickey Mantle, the younger, better, and they just called it a sprained knee at the time. They did not know that he tore his ACL. They said it was a sprained knee that obviously ended up being like, 3 or 4 different torn ligaments, and Mickey still played without him.
And that's why Mickey didn't have an ACL and still went on to be over 500, one of the greatest center fielders of all time, and an absolute Hall of Famer, one of the greatest Yankees to ever play. Mickey Mantle's number. Anybody got it?
7.
Second
Correct.
greatest player without ACL behind Juan Blair.
Nice.
And Roger Maris was 6, right? 6 and 7.
Pitt Panthers.
Go Pitt, baby.
Pitt Panthers. Yogi's 8.
Hey, Juan Blair didn't have either ACLs, okay? Suck on that.
All right, we bring it out every once in a while. That's story time with Uncle Patrick. Maybe bring it back next week. Joe's got some fun stuff, but we'll do fair or foul next. But first, there's Schultze with sports.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on the Fan, a very busy day 2 of NBA free agency. A couple of moves by the Golden State Warriors. First on the personnel side, they are hiring former Blazers coach Terry Stotts to be their lead assistant under headman Steve Kerr. The team also bringing on Jerry Stackhouse to their assistant staff as well. On the players side, Golden State signing forward Kyle Anderson for 3 years, $27 million in a sign and trade with the Timberwolves. Minnesota receiving cash and a future second rounder in return. The Magic making a couple of deals, signing forward Jonathan Isaac for 5 years, $84 million. It's a renegotiation and extension. They're also bringing back big man Mo Wagner on a 2-year, $22 million deal. And the Cleveland Cavaliers signing all-star Donovan Mitchell to a 3-year, $150.3 million extension. In baseball, the Seattle Mariners trying to get back on the right side of things after 4 series losses in a row. They're hosting the Baltimore Orioles up at T-Mobile Park right now. Already down 2-0 thanks to a Cedric Mullins RBI single and an Anthony Santander RBI single. And 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th, though. The bases are loaded for Baltimore. Top 7 bases are loaded for Baltimore right now. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schultze at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Live, local, and free. No subscription required.
we do this bad boy every single Tuesday at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour. Without further ado, let's jump right in it. Story time, voting. Got a little long, but I love to let this baby breathe. We'll turn it over to our fantastic producer, Jordan Schultze.
Appreciate you all. Home run
Dutch
derby.
Brothers famous.
Oh, very, very much so. I really do deserve like a hot tub at the Dutch Brothers Manor that's for sale down in Medford right now. Schultze hot tub, please. All right,
You mispronounced Methford.
Yes, I did. I forgot. Sorry, guys. Crystal Methford down there selling beautiful houses. All right, wanted to try to
She's
stump.
hot.
Yeah, baby. Wanted to try to stump you guys regarding some home runs since we are close to the All-Star break and they changed the rules for the home run derby. Was looking at a lot of the great home run hitters in the past 5 seasons at MLB, and 2 names in the top 10 kind of surprised me, but 1 in the top 5. That one really surprised me just because you really feel like you don't hear him as much or hear about him as much anymore, just because you're hearing about guys like Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. So fair or foul, Pete Alonso, guys. Fair or foul, Pete Alonso, the polar bear, has the most home runs in all of MLB in the last 5 seasons. Fair or foul?
Just in the season, we're not talking home run derby. We're just talking the season.
We are talking the last 5 seasons to this point.
Ooh, baby, this is tough, Jordan. I know you're thinking about this a lot. The polar bear is my favorite animal in the kingdom. There's something magical about the polar bear to me. They are an apex predator. They are from my area, ish. I find the polar bear absolutely fascinating animal. Now, I don't love Pete Alonso as much as I love polar bears, but I think Pete Alonso is really good. And as we talk about us Mariner fans over here looking at how can we make this team a little bit better, is Pete Alonso the answer? What does Pete Alonso cost?
Harry Ford? Sure, I'll do it.
As long as it's not Harry Ford and
Cole Emerson.
and
A starting pitcher.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
like
a Woo
yeah.
or a Miller. Yeah. But there is something I love about Pete Alonso. I think Pete Alonso brings a lot of character. I think he brings a lot of maturity, leadership, stuff like that. And for no reason other than I think he's a decent guy, I'll say fair. I think he probably averages 33 a year. The only person I would think that might have more home runs than him in that time would be Kyle Schwarber. That would be my only thought. Maybe Judge, but I'd probably say Schwarber.
Say it to me one more time, Schultze.
All right, fair or foul, Pete Alonso has the most home runs in all of MLB in the last 5 seasons. Fair or foul?
Last 5 seasons.
COVID short year.
And technically, I'm going July 2, 2019 to today, 2024.
Fair enough.
I just can't.
Nobody hit 70 bombs in the first 3 months of 19.
It's true.
I just can't believe that.
I know, it's kind of wild to think about, right? But maybe that's why he's as popular as he is.
I'm just trying to think of over the last 5 years who has been healthy, consistent, had that pop.
That's why I like Schwarber. Judge, obviously, I mean, 61 is 30 more than Alonso's ever hit.
I don't know.
Well, maybe that's not true,
Yeah,
but you know what I mean.
You know, I'm thinking of the guy who just popped out for the Dodgers, Freeman, but I don't know if he's been hitting that many home runs or as many as Pete Alonso. I'm going to say foul. The question is not guess who has more. So I am going to say foul, that there is somebody that has more home runs. But I think Schultze is leading me astray here.
Yeah, you were right, Joe. I am leading you astray. But only by 17 home runs. Pete Alonso does not have the most. It is actually Aaron Judge with 199.
Is Pete number 2?
He is. He is number 2
See,
at 182 home runs.
See, 62 in 1 year is like
the difference.
2 years of home runs.
But y'all remember Pete Alonso's rookie year, 53 home runs, which
Yeah.
I think people have kind of forgotten about.
I have already forgotten about it, and you just told me that. Who was number 3? Do you have that list still
I
in
do.
front of you?
Yeah, Matt Olson at 173, tied with Kyle Schwarber for third.
That is a deal for the Atlanta Braves for Matt Olson. Jeez Louise. And then Schwarber tied with him.
And then Ohtani at 5 at 163. This is the other name that surprised me because you just don't hear about him because they're so bad. The Red Sox, Rafael Devers, their third baseman, 147 homers, tied with Jose Ramirez. So a little bit crazier to see him in the top 10, but Juan Soto, Yordan Alvarez, and Marcus Semien rounding out that list.
Wow. Jose decked him. Posey decked him.
Yes, he did. All right, on to question number 2. Sticking with the Boston Red Sox. They've got a really good young player right now, guys. Jarren Duran has been hitting off his earth this season.
Yeah, he's had like a 12-game hit streak, something
Yeah.
like that.
287 average, 351 on base percentage, almost an 850 OPS, 40 RBIs, 21 stolen bases. This stat, though, kind of caught me off guard. I get it, he plays in Fenway, but fair or foul, Boston Red Sox outfielder Jarren Duran has had as many triples as he does home runs this year. Fair or foul? He has had as many triples as home runs, so same number. Fair or foul?
Part of me wants to ask how many home runs he has. You know, like. If
I'll
I
give
could-
it to you if you'd like.
Yeah.
10 home runs.
He has
10
home
home
runs.
runs.
All right, and how many triples does he have?
Well, shut the hell up.
Well, I know Bobby Witt.
Damn it.
I believe Bobby Witt was leading the league in triples for a while, but I don't know if he has been passed.
I'm going to say fair because that would be a pretty cool stat, especially to have that many triples this point in the season. I kind of want that to be the case.
I will say foul because I think they suck and he sucks, and it's Bobby Witt in the lead with triples.
Well,
No.
they don't suck, and they very well could probably take a wild card spot this year. So.
Joe is 2 for 2 tonight, unfortunately, on the stat questions.
Unfortunately, Schultze just played his cards that Joe Fisher sucks, apparently.
I was more
Thank
so
you,
saying
thank you.
unfortunate for you, Patrick, but
Okay.
but yes, yes, yes.
No, I get it. I get it.
Anti-Joe Fisher.
I have
Joe
secret Joe Fisher hate over here, apparently.
Jordan Schultz secretly hates Joe Fisher. Not secret anymore.
So it is fair. He is sitting at 10 apiece triples and home runs. Bobby Witt
Wow.
Jr. has 9 triples.
See,
9
I knew I was onto something with Bobby Witt.
Sneaky third place, Anthony Volpe with third. So I didn't even really know that. So good for him. He's fast.
He's been having a great year at the dish.
I had a
Somehow the Yankees are good.
$5,000 card signed by him, and I sold it.
Anthony Volpe?
Yeah, it was like a very, very early rookie card of his. It was signed. It was like an out of 25, like very, very rare parallel, and I sold it way too early.
Oh, boy. Hopefully it's in the garbage or like a dumpster somewhere and you don't feel bad. Like the next owner like just totally, mismanaged the card.
Oh no, I saw it. It got graded out perfectly, and he's got $10,000 sitting in a safety deposit box right now in that card. So
Down goes Schultze.
it sucks. That's definitely one of my worst decisions as far as sports memorabilia goes. Fair or foul number 3. All right, moving on to the trade deadline, guys. A couple of moves that I think need to be made in questions 3 and 4 are ones I'll address. Let's start off with the Toronto Blue Jays. We've been hearing all the rumors about Vladimir Guerrero being on the move. I, however, think it's a little bit of a misnomer, even though you're having a down season, to give up on the best player that's been on your roster for the past, 5-6 years.
Since Roy Halladay.
Yeah, pretty much. And not wanting to spend the money on a player like that, I think is asinine. So fair or foul, guys, the Toronto Blue Jays will trade first baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr. by the deadline. Fair or foul?
I'll take this first. I'll start off and say foul. And the reason I say foul is I think the teams that would be best suited for Vladdy don't have the resources to get him. I know the media wants to shove down our throats Vladdy in New York. But what is New York sending? New York is not sending anything to Toronto that is worth that. Now, you look at a team like the Dodgers, they have the capital to send for Vladdy, but they don't need him. They got Freeman at first, they got Shohei as a DH. Where am I going to put Vladdy? Take the flip side of that, the Mariners. I think the Mariners have capital to send to Toronto to get Vladdy, but is Vladdy going to come out to Seattle? I don't think so. So I don't think where it fits and what it costs meets in the middle, and I will say foul. I think he's in Toronto, and they lock him up.
They should maybe trade him, but I could see
I agree
them.
with you, Joe. I think they should deal him.
I lean towards they should, but I could live in a world where they say, we'll get rid of everybody else,
Yeah.
but we're keeping Vlad. We're going to build around him. We're going to manage this roster a little bit better, but keep him because he is caliber player.
His old man was Canadian. He's Canadian.
Am I crazy though that what if we saw a little first baseman swap and the New York Mets go after him?
Pete Alonso. Well,
send Pete to Toronto. They won't end up giving him a long-term deal.
But
you're gonna have to pay out the ass for Vladimir down the road anyways.
But Pete Alonso would just be a rental, and a rental for what? To finish 4th instead of 5th?
And then you have a complete rebuild restart.
And then he walks, and you get nothing for Vladdy?
Well, I mean, you have some, prospects that come along with that deal if you're Toronto.
Just the Mets scared out of their wits that they can't re-sign Pete Alonso. And if I was Pete Alonso, I wouldn't re-sign there either. Citi Field's a dumpster fire if you hit home runs.
I think it'd be interesting. The Mets, the grimace Mets, making a little surge here, and then you get Vladdy on the team to give you some more oomph in that lineup, and you have some on base.
I mean, I would watch.
You have a hitter as well.
I would watch the fire.
It's obviously you're going to have, Pete Alonso can get you home runs, but as far as having a consistent on base presence like Vladimir Guerrero, I mean, I'm talking crazy, but also I think that if Toronto fully wanted to do a restart, you get Pete Alonso back, but you ask for a hell lot of prospects as well.
It's crazy, man.
All right, guys, got to round out fair or foul with a question about my, I would say, crappy Seattle Mariners right now. Losing to the Baltimore Orioles. Probably not going to win this series.
What you going to do?
Strike out more, because that's what they've been doing. Hey, you talking to me? No.
Gray Rod will do that to you, man.
Gray Rod threw well tonight.
I did ask you guys about Mitch Garver a few weeks ago. He is still one of the worst, actually not one of, the worst statistical batter qualifying in all of MLB at 172. And the Mariners have not one, not two, but 4 hitters in the bottom 20 of qualifying batting averages in all of Major Leagues. Another one of those guys, second baseman, Jorge Polanco. He has missed some time with injury, but even when he's played, only hitting a .197, hit a few homers, but dude is like barely above 280 for on-base percentage. So I'm not liking the numbers. Fair or foul, guys. The Seattle Mariners should say uncle and move on from second baseman Jorge Polanco. Really quickly, let me compare him. He's batting 197, 5 home runs, 15 RBIs, to Colton Wong's 2 home runs, 19 RBIs, and 165 before he was jettisoned by the Mariners.
Wasn't Jorge Polanco a guy that Dipoto had been eyeing for years?
4 years. This was a apparent Dipoto guy. Yes.
You know what? What's he batting?
197.
197. Well, the team is averaging 218.
That's fair.
So I would argue that Polanco is actually closer to the middle than other people. I will actually say foul, because it's like Mitch Garver sucks, and Mitch Garver got hurt, and thank God he's out now. But who's coming in?
Yeah.
Like who?
Sebi Zavala.
Who you bringing in? Like, I don't got any options for you. Like, this guy, at least this guy's closer to the team average than the other dude. I'd keep Polanco.
I would keep him as well, because you need like 7 batters. You need to make like 7 moves.
Yeah, getting rid of Polanco ain't the answer.
Call me crazy, but how about a little first base for first base swap? Ty France for Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Dude, Ty France and Emerson Hancock for Pete Alonso. Let's effing go.
It's going to take more than Emerson. They're going to ask for Woo and Ty France. Would you do that?
Woo and Ty France? Yeah, because I think Woo might have Tommy John. So, yeah, you can have him.
What about Emerson? Cold Emerson and Ty France. They're number 1 prospect. I personally, I'd give up anybody. I'd give them all up.
But again, though, my problem with Pete Alonso in New York is that ballpark sucks, but so does T-Mobile.
As of 2 days ago, Mariners with a MLB worst batting average 218. By the way.
218.
And
218.
leading in strikeouts as well.
Yeah, it ain't good. It ain't good. All right, that is Fair or Foul. We do it every single Tuesday at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour. We come back, we'll wrap this bad boy up. Hot Corner today, The Fan.
How's your t-shirt game set up for summer? Check out the Fan Merch Locker.
Approved by the boss.
With new shirts for Dirt and Sprague, Danny and Dusty, and more. on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
Opening day, and here's the first pitch, and the season's over.
All right, we'll be back next week, and I think it's time to start getting into some trade deadline talk.
Yes.
You know, we kind of talked about it a little bit last week of doing it this week, but I forgot we had the All-Star game. So I wanted to get into that. But Joe keeps peppering me as we talk about what we want to do for the show each week. Joe keeps peppering me with some trade deadline stuff. So I think it'd be fun to kind of really dive into it, get ahead of it. Basically, we're walking into the All-Star break next week, where everyone's got a few games left. We can look at, what's Kyle Tucker's situation, Harper, Real Muto. Check in on the White Sox. What are the White Sox going to do? Can Mason Miller for the A's get moved? Things like that. And then also just what does Baltimore need to do to keep going? That bullpen looks pretty strong. Is Corbin Burns enough? Is Grayrod showing you enough as a starter, or do they need a starter? So I think it could be a lot of fun next week to dive into some trade deadline stuff, because now we're in a position, like, speaking of Schultz's Mariners, like, as I keep saying, objects in the mirror are closer than they appear. Like, what is the Astros strategy at the deadline? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that team becomes really fascinating.
Yeah, the rubber's meeting the road with a lot of teams right now. We're getting to crunch time in the MLB season, obviously post All-Star break. I texted you earlier today about a possible segment that we could have today, but might get pushed back to next week. Which division leader could / will lose their division lead?
Yep.
That's not the Seattle Mariners. I mean, there's.
I sent you two candidates.
I mean, there's, as we know, you get into the postseason, just give me a chance, right? That's what a lot of these teams feel like. I feel like the Padres are that way. The Cardinals are sneaking up in the division on the Brewers. I mean, you have obviously the Mets are surging.
I was high on the Cubs at the beginning of the season.
Dude, we both took the Cubs to win the division.
So
now they're dead last in the division.
So where are they in terms of that?
Are they in sell mode?
Yeah, can Cincinnati make a run, or are they in a patient mode? Yeah, are the Cubs in sell mode? What if you're the Braves? Like, you've had a lot of bad hands dealt to you. Spencer Strider, Ronald Acuna, your two best players are gone. Do you make a run, or do you just kind of say maybe not our year?
I mean, just real quickly on them, I think it's just one of those, it's not our year, just wait for the horses to get back.
That's what I would say.
It's like, let's try and make some magic happen with our guys that we do have.
September 10th, shut down Max Fried.
Yeah, right. Just give it your best effort, and we'll see what happens. But, I mean, there's a lot of great players out there that are going to be available.
But to counter that statement that I've been kind of saying over the last couple of weeks, are there great players out there available?
Yeah, I think there's.
I think so.
And I mean that also.
I would say that there's more
what the value is for them.
I would say there's probably more pitching than there is hitting.
Because you can sit here and say Vladdy and Pete Alonso are available, and you're like, whoa, those are huge bats available. But what does that cost?
Yeah.
And is that truly available? So I think it could be a lot of fun.
I think there are definitely some names people aren't talking about as much, like Ryan McMahon for the Rockies, Taylor Ward.
Ryan McMahon is Taylor Ward is also great.
Jazz Chisholm for the Marlins is not the best, but a decent middle infield addition right now.
Yeah, the Tampa Bay Rays are always open for business.
We were looking at was it Brent Rooker over there in Oakland?
Brent Rooker in Oakland.
Crochet over at the White Sox.
Crochet for sure.
I mean, it's
what do the Diamondbacks do? Carroll's not playing well. Their World Series last year, but they're far away from that.
And they were playing.
Do you get rid of the Jock Petersons and Yuri Gurriels of the world? Obviously, you're not trading Zach Gallen, but are you going to trade, does Jordan Montgomery get dealt?
Dude, he's
been
rough
terrible.
Year. Yeah, that has not been talked about enough, especially with how much he was talked about going into the season.
Right.
Yeah, it's it'll be interesting. There's enough teams that are in it, and this is what I love about obviously the expanded playoffs is that more teams are going to have a chance, and more
Yeah.
teams feel like
And that's why they created it.
we might be an arm away. We might be a starting pitcher away, that where we can have a 3-man rotation going into the playoffs that are just as good as some of these division leaders,
That's
and then we
kind
can
of
go
all
and
it
surprise
takes.
them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, that'll do it for us. When we come back next week, that's what we're going to be doing. Let's dive into some trade deadline and talk about some stuff as we slide into the All-Star break. Get your fan votes in for the All-Star break. I just think it's a fun tradition, and you are a baseball fan, so you should have a say in who plays in the Classic. All right. That'll do it. I think that's all I got, right? Anything else?
I believe so. Check the notes. Check the papers.
Notes are gone. I got my sunglasses. I'm warm.
All right, let's boogie.
Let's do it. For Joe Fisher, Schultze on the 1s and 2s, I'm Patrick Harris. Go do something. I would do.